On this episode of Genshin Impact. Man, the scales just went up so fast. What the fuck is this quest line, man?
Is he the Archon? He might be the Archon.
There's still more? Orochimaru? Seriously, Paimon? Seriously? Hi, my name is Chris, and this is part 3 of my series on Genshin Impact, where I go through the story bit by bit, analyze what's happening, and then summarize my thoughts at the end. Today's episode is very special for me as it marks our first foray into the game's second region, Liyue. But, full disclosure, this isn't exactly my first time venturing into the region, as much as I'd like to tell you that. When I'm not making these videos on the story, I am out there, grinding every day, exploring and doing my dailies. So I have seen plenty of Liyue's landscapes already, but that just made me even more excited to start on the Archon Quest. I've also spent a lot of time here just letting battles drag on for way too long, and that's because Liyue has some absolutely killer battle music going for it. The music in this game really just continues to amaze me. But yeah, all of that has been in service to making my party as strong as possible for the next video. Speaking of my party, not much has happened since last time here. I did replace my cryo powerhouse Rosaria with another cryo character. Yes, that's right, it's our favorite sneaky boy Kaya. The reason I decided to do this was because I want to level up our friendship level with him, something that only happens if he's hanging out with us in our party during our adventures. A higher friendship level means more access to Kaya's backstory and past history, which I'm told might be very well worth reading. Other than that though, we've still got a really strong combo going with Diluc, Fischl, and Bennett all returning from the last episode. Not much has changed with them, they're still an absolute powerhouse, as you're probably gonna see during this video. Anyway, that's enough catching up. I've been so very excited to get started on this episode, as many people have been telling me how much better the story keeps getting as we cross into new regions. So I've been really curious to see if I'll feel the same. Now, without further ado, let's find out, shall we? We arrive in Liyue Harbor, the booming trade central of Teyvat, to see the Liyue Archon come down from the heavens for the Rite of Descension. This is our one shot at seeing him for a whole year, so we really have to make sure we'll be there on time. Do you know where it is?
Well, Venti brought up the time, but Paimon knows nothing about where it is.
Useless. Paimon does get some plus points on our adventures in Liyue, as she actually drops some important lore and knowledge about the Liyue Archon and Liyue's culture.
About the Archon Mora, did you know the Mora that we use is named after this god?
She also tells us that we should refer to the Liyue Archon as Rex Lapis, which is also the name that the common folk of Liyue use. Is this the beginning of a Paimon redemption arc? Guess we'll have to see. Anyway, we head out to question the locals about the time and place for the Rite of Descension, and we actually learn quite a few interesting facts about the yearly ritual on the way.
The 17 predictions given last year made more than a few ripples throughout the industry.
Apparently, every business person in Liyue Harbor keeps a close eye on the ritual, as Rex Lapis seems to give out predictions each year that shape the business of Liyue in the future. We also hear a name from one of the locals that seems slightly familiar to us.
There's been a rumor going around that the Tianshui herself, Ningguang, has been acting secretly in the shadows.
Ningguang? Wait, I know that name. I feel like I've seen that somewhere before.
I can't remember. Rex Lapis is apparently the oldest of all the 7 Archons out there. Alright, so he's not gonna be a tiny little boy like Venti is, I guess. But then again, Venti is really old as well. So who fucking knows, honestly. This is anime. We talked to a few more locals, and one of them tells us that it was the Yu Hung of the Liyue Qixing who asked Rex Lapis for the divine predictions last year.
Sounds like gibberish to me.
Yeah, that's a lot of big words, isn't it? Paimon butts in on the conversation, but to our surprise, it's actually a welcome interruption, since she gives us some important info to make sense of it all.
The Liyue Qixing, the 7 leaders of the 7 enterprises of Liyue, hold true control over Liyue.
This is some important knowledge. Thank you, Paimon. I'm surprised. From our talks with the locals, we learned 2 important things about Liyue and its people, so I'll just speedrun them here real quick. Number 1, Liyue is a nation of contracts, much like Mondstadt is a nation of freedom. That means that the art of the trade and upholding the contracts forged between the people are of the utmost priority here. Makes sense for the business center of Tevado, right? And secondly, we learn that Rex Lapis is highly respected and valued by all of Liyue's people. We're talking true dedication to their god here, unlike in Mondstadt where Barbados is just kinda hanging around.
Given that you just left your godless city, it's time you experienced what it's like to be in a city whose god has walked with it through all of history.
Did they look down on Mondstadt a little bit? Is that what I'm getting here? We head up to the ritual site and Paimon tells us that making a wish on the day of the Rite of Ascension is apparently the best time to do it. So we head to the shrines scattered around the area and start praying.
Ah, look, that's Miss Ningguang of the Liyue Xixing. Only those who have control in Liyue can preside over the Rite of Ascension.
The praying guy also tells us that Rex Lapis can assume many different forms, and so he wonders what form the Liyue Archon will take today. Anyway, we push the guy out of our space and resume our wish. I wish I could get some leads from the Liyue Archon. I wish I could find my sister soon. Oh, yep. Back to the A-plot, come on. We finish up our wishing ways and head back towards the plaza to watch the rite. I gotta say, after all the heavy lore drops in the beginning of this new arc, I am very curious to meet Rex Lapis and see what he's all about. It also seems like the game is kinda shifting focus back towards our sister. Maybe Rex Lapis will finally be able to tell us some new info about
Rex Lapis has been killed. Seal the exits.
What? Well, turns out we don't get to ask him anything after all. Rex Lapis is freaking dead, and that sends the Liyue police force, the Millilith as they're called, into a righteous fever, locking down the area.
The killer is amongst us!
Anime Boy is a bit afraid of getting caught here, seeing as he is an interdimensional space traveler and all. And so we attempt to sneak out of the grounds without getting spotted. In the water. Nothing suspicious about this. We step on apparently the world's loudest leaf, which sends the guards chasing after us, and they manage to drive us into a corner. But just when it looks like we'll have to defend ourselves...
Hey buddy, hold still.
Oh! Okay, wait, no. Ooh. Is he a hybrid character? We follow our strange rescuer and manage to lose the guards.
Paimon's exhausted.
Just what muscles does magical fuel loading use exactly?
So insensitive.
This is Child, or at least that's the alias he likes to use.
In Mondstadt, I don't suppose you came across a Senora by any chance.
Oh, I sure did.
Invasive vermin.
Senora? Child? You're Fatui!
Yep, turns out Child is one of the harbingers of the Fatui, just like La Senora is. Child wants to help us out, which is an offer we are rightfully very suspicious of. I don't need help from the Fatui.
Come now, don't be like that. I'm not a bad guy. Oh, okay, perhaps I'm kind of a bad guy.
But we decide to hear what he has to say for the time being. Child doesn't suspect us of Rex Lapis' murder, seeing as he apparently kept a close eye on us the entire time. Unfortunately, his word doesn't seem to mean much, as the Fatui and the Qixing of Liyue don't appear to trust each other very much.
The ruling Qixing of Liyue has always been overly suspicious of us.
I mean, for good reason, I'll say.
Well, can you honestly blame them?
Oh god, I am melding together with Paimon. No. Child tells us to head to Northland Bank, where we'll be out of reach for the guards of Liyue.
Northland Bank.
The bank was apparently founded and built by Cheshnaya, and acts as a sort of Fatui stronghold in this region. Child hands us some strange sigil and tells us to head north, out of the city and into a stone forest known as Juyung Karst.
The people of Liyue believe it to be the abode of the Adepti.
The Adepti are some kind of supernatural protectors looking after the region of Liyue and its people. Child tells us that many people seek them for blessings of all sorts.
But you will go for justice.
Justice! Our new red-haired friend tells us that he thinks the way the Qixing responded to Rex Lapis' murder is quite suspicious, seeing as they seem to be wanting to arrest a mere mortal for the murder of an ultra-powerful god like the Liyue Archon. You think the Qixing did it and they're trying to pin it on someone else?
Your thinking is even more radical than my own, honorary knight.
Child asks us to hurry to see the Adepti before the Millilith does, so we can present our version of events first. So we hurry on up to Juyung Karst.
And who might we be?
Oh.
Those that dare enter Juyung Karst.
Is that an Adepti? We meet our first Adeptus here and show him the thingamajig that we got from Child.
A sigil of permission.
The Adeptus presents himself as Mooncarver, and here we learn that the Adepti also love to talk about themselves in third person. But he doesn't seem to be as annoying as Paimon, thank god.
Actually...
A few Millilith soldiers show up, and Mooncarver asks us to politely show them off the premises.
Preposterous. Preposterous!
Just like Child, Mooncarver also doesn't seem to agree with the way the Qixing are handling affairs back in Liyue Harbor. In fact, he's quite pissed off at them. He does believe that we are innocent though, and asks us to go around to mop up the other Adepti in Liyue and tell them of the news. This leaves us with 3 different objectives to go to, and we can pick and choose the order as we see fit. So we head for the nearest one on Mount Hulao, exploring a bit as we go. This battle theme is so good. We arrive at the mountain and start making our way up, smashing these weird orange rock thingies as we go. Inside are monsters, meat and loot, and there's even some poor dude stuck inside one further up the mountain. Oh, hello.
What happened?
This is Li Dang, a treasure hoarder who went exploring on the mountain with his brother. He asks us if we've seen his brother before heading off on his own to look for him. Not much later, we run into the reunited pair of brothers at the top.
My brother told me everything. Thank you both so much for rescuing him.
They give us some sob story about them being poor and stuff, and calls their entrapment in the Orange Rocks punishment for ransacking on Adeptus territory.
Luckily, the Adeptus was merciful. They sent you two as their messengers to save us.
Of your transgression, your predicament, and your repentance, one has become aware.
Whoa, your Adepti Messenger impression is really good.
The brothers promise to change their ways, and then they dip. Okay.
Who dares trespass on my mountain?
Oh shit.
Come forth and receive your punishment.
Oh, what the Yeah, I don't really know what the voice line jank is all about here. That's a nice looking bird. Anyway, this is Mountain Shaper, and he's not very happy that we've been waltzing around and destroying rocks on his mountain. So we hurry and show him our sigil of permission so he knows we're not all bad.
In the beginning, Rex Lapis cast them for the mortals with his own hand. Few were made then, and thousands of years on, fewer still remain.
Music, holy shit. We tell Mountain Shaper everything that's happened, and he's not too pleased with the situation either.
Rex Lapis charged the Adepti with the protection of Liyue, and we have always honored this duty.
The bird tells us a bit more about the history of Liyue's people and the Adeptus, explaining how they actually used to live closer together, but as things settled down and the people prospered, the Adeptus chose to live further away from civilization. Mountain Shaper tells us that he'll meet up with the other Adepti as soon as he's done handling a problem here on the mountain. Turns out the orange rocks we've seen around are actually traps laid in the ground as flowers, activated by people and animals intruding and stepping on them. And when the traps are sprung, they encase whoever steps on them in amber. So the Adeptus will have to take care of the traps before departing to make sure no one is hurt or entrapped within while he's away. Even here, amber is a problem. God damn it, amber. After that, we head toward the next Adeptus on the list and take in the sights on the way. That's a screenshot right there. We arrive at the next location only to find a table with 3 empty seatings.
Here sits Guizhong. Here sits Rex.
We deduce that this must be where the Adeptus have their dinner parties, and so we head around the area to figure out some dishes we can offer up to them.
Sticky honey roast.
Not that again. We cook up some dishes and leave them on the plates, and after placing down the offerings, the big shiny glowy gate disappears, and so we head on into Cloud Retainer's abode.
One senses the presence of a sigil of permission.
She doesn't really want to see us though before we smash and puzzle our way through her domain, and so we get right on that. Oh, this is so different from the Mondstadt ones. This is cool. After reaching the end, we find yet another bird Adeptus waiting for us. Did you design all those mechanisms?
You surmise correctly.
How do you build with wings, though? Cloud Retainer seems to be the technologically advanced Adeptus of the pack, who decided to move here all by herself.
One is simply not partial to the tedium of social interaction, and wish to find some peace and quiet.
Bro is just like me, for real, for real. Once again, the Adeptus is shook at the news of Rex Lapis's death, but she does respond a bit more aggressively than the other Adepti we've talked to.
Perhaps one shall quash Liyue first, then convene with the other Adepti.
Excuse me?
Wait, what? Did you just say squash Liyue Harbor?
She tells us that the Adepti have protected Liyue along with Rex Lapis for a whole 37 centuries, and so this is a crime most foul that must be met with equal punishment. We try to think up something real quick to stop her from destroying the city, and we decide to invoke the ancient Liyue art of contracts. You accepted our offering, that makes this a contract.
Exactly what Paimon was gonna say. We made all that delicious food and gave every last bit of it to you.
She's so hungry. Cloud Retainer really doesn't think well of the people of Liyue at this point, but she will keep her word to us and leave them alone, at least for now. So she tells us that she'll meet up with the rest of the Adeptus gang and kicks us out of her home. Last stop on our list is Wangshu Inn. So we head on up to the balcony to see if we can track down the last Adeptus.
Oh, he's not here?
To the blind, everything may not be as it appears.
Wait a minute, you're not a bird. This is Xiao, and he really doesn't want to talk to us apparently, even after we show him our sigil of permission.
Though this only prevents me from hurting you myself, doesn't stop you from getting hurt in other ways.
What does that mean?
Paimon doesn't get it.
He tells us to shove off, and so we head downstairs to see if the innkeeper has any tips on talking to this bonehead.
That's his good mood?
Innkeeper lady actually drops us a bit of new lore, telling us that Rex Lapis apparently borrowed power from the Adepti when he built Liyue. She also tells us to appeal to Xiao's stomach to get on good terms with him.
What do you think you're the best at cooking?
Perhaps a Maha Manchusaka hot pyro slime?
Wow, never heard of that one.
We head on over to talk to the local chef by the name of Smiley for help. Surely he'll be able to fix us up. Excuse me, we'd like an almond toast. Yeah, it turns out the cook is actually too scared to stay in the kitchen at the moment, as he thinks he saw a ghost moving around down there, and so we head down to investigate. What the... We talk to the innkeeper about what we saw, and she doesn't really seem scared at all. Instead, she points us in the direction of a calligraphy painting at the inn, and asks us to match the symbol we find with the landscape outside, for some reason. So of course, we do that. After finding the correct angle, which somehow makes the ghost appear, we manage to follow her, beat up some baddies, and track her down.
Paimon's pooped.
You've just been flying around.
We manage to talk the ghost girl out of haunting the inn, and head on back to see if the chef will cook that meal for us now.
Haha, my hands are steadier than ever now that she's gone.
After getting the almond tofu from Smiley, we head back up to Xiao to see if he'll finally listen to what we have to say.
What's this?
It's a bribe.
Tofu, quick, tell him everything before he finishes eating.
He agrees to go see the other Adepti and tells us that the ghost girl, Dusky Ming, is actually a spirit that he himself brought here to the inn, as she's unable to move on from this realm. So perhaps Xiao's not all bad. Anyway, with all the Adepti taken care of, we finally head on back to Child.
You finally returned. How was your journey to Jueyun Karst?
He tells us that the Qixing hasn't caught any culprits yet, and so no one is allowed close to the body of Rex Lapis, or, as Child refers to him here, the Exuvia.
Exuvia?
Apparently Rex Lapis was a man of many names, owing to the fact that he is apparently also an Adeptus. The Exuvia refers to the so-called prime of the Adepti. So was he always an Adepti? Cause one of them told us that he borrowed power from the Adepti. Child tells us that the Adepti actually have the right to assume control of Liyue if they find that the Qixing appear unfit for that duty. The Qixing has also apparently hidden away the corpse of Rex Lapis, and no one knows where it is. Paimon lets us slip that we're on a quest to find and meet all 7 Archons.
And just why might that be, pray tell?
No comment.
Nice answer.
He tells us that he just might know someone who can help us with that, but that he'll need some time to do so. And with that, we finish up the first act of the Liyue storyline. Alright, well that was a lot of running around. Not too much happened. Like, we did get some lore dump on the state of Liyue and the hierarchy of the Adeptus and the normal people. So I liked it. It was fascinating. At this point, I was very curious to see where it was all going. Little did I know that things were about to take a very different turn in the next act. So for today and heading back to the Northland Bank to see if Child has any news for us.
Welcome, friend of Child. And congratulations on the first day of your illustrious career with the Fatui.
Yeah, the Fatui has quite another idea of our relationship than we do. Anyway, the lady tells us that Child has upheld his part of the agreement.
What agreement? Oh, the thing about him helping us find a guy?
Correct.
She tells us to go find him at Liyue Pavilion. And Paimon of course interrupts us to tell us more.
There are 2 styles of cooking in Liyue, known as Li style and Yue style.
Yeah, I don't care. You're like this every time we talk about food.
Don't talk to Paimon like that!
I'll talk to you however I goddamn want. Anyway, we head down there and meet our red-haired acquaintance. He tells us that he may have found someone that can help us solve the mystery of the murder and hiding of the Exuvia. Child has set up a business dinner where we get to meet this mysterious individual. Our first business dinner in Liyue. Let's go.
Welcome back, sir. You honor us with your patronage. Mr. Zhongli is awaiting your arrival in the room you booked.
Inside, we meet Mr. Zhongli, a mysterious figure and winner of the Best Voice in Tevat award so far.
Indeed. It is as you have guessed.
Oh my god! He's apparently a trusted associate of the Fatui, and he's also a consultant to an organization known as Wang Sheng. Apparently Wang Sheng is a bit of a shady organization, dealing in shadowy matters.
Walk in the shadows?
Oh, is he like an assassin?
Is Wang Shen some kind of business involving dealing with people?
Actually, turns out Wangsheng is a funeral parlor, so while they do deal with dead people, they don't actually produce them themselves. At least, I don't think so. Anyway, Zhongli tells us that he can help us gain access to Rex Lapis's remains, and once again confirms what we already know.
The god of contracts, the god of commerce, the warrior god, Morax, Rex Lapis. Is the idea that he also has the title of Adeptus so strange?
I guess not. He has 5 million names. He suggests that we help arrange a huge funeral rite for Rex Lapis in the city, something that has previously been customary whenever an Adeptus has passed away. We find out that Child has been gossiping about us.
Traveler, Child has told me a lot about you. Could I ask you to help me prepare the Liyue Archon's last rites?
Child says too much.
Oh? In our line of work, this means that you want to silence me.
The Rite of Parting seems to be the only way to see the Liyue Archon with our own 2 eyes, so we agree to help out with preparations. This sounds like another long side quest where we have to prepare the rites. Let's see if I'm right. We agree to meet up outside while Child stays behind inside to have some more drinks. What do you gain from this, Child? I'm a bit suspicious, I'm not gonna lie. What does the Fatui have to gain from this? Our preparations begin with a hard question from Zhongli.
How does it feel to know that our Archon and Adepti are here all around you in Liyue?
I prefer the atmosphere. I don't know, actually. I like Liyue a lot so far. Zhongli tells us that Liyue is by far the most prosperous of the 7 regions, and that's why the Fatui has previously had trouble gaining any ground and influence here. We also learned that Ningguang and the Qixing are always on edge when it comes to dealing with them. Yeah, that seems pretty fair in my opinion.
That is in all likelihood why Child wants to make use of the Wangsheng funeral parlor's connections.
Huh. What would Child get out of us doing the Rite of Parting anyway?
Exactly.
I neither know nor do I wish to know.
He hands us some spending money from the Fatui that we can use for the preparations. And then we're off on the first of many, many steps in the preparation for the Rite of Parting. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I found this part of the story extremely slow. I'll get into why in a bit more detail later, but I'm sure you'll be able to figure it out for yourself as we go through Act 2. Anyway, the first step is acquiring some Primo Noctilicus Jade, and so we head out to talk to our first merchant.
Welcome to the Jade Mystery, my good friends.
We're here for... what was it again?
Noctilus Jade, bro.
Noctilucus Jade.
Oh. The merchant presents us with 3 pieces, but we're not sure of the quality or which one to pick. So we ask Zhongli to share his wisdom and come up with a solution.
I'll take them all, boss.
Oh.
Hey! If we only need 1 for the ritual, aren't we wasting 3 times the Mora if we buy them all?
Actually, it's 2 times more Mora.
Oh, Mora.
Yeah, seems like Zhongli doesn't really fathom the concept of money, as he also admits himself.
If one must always consider Mora before acting, then in all things one is bound by Mora.
What?
All Mora is currency, but not all currency is Mora.
We figure that the guy must be loaded as all hell, since he doesn't really seem to care how much he's spending. He suggests getting some samples of the jade and testing it out in the field, and the merchant hesitantly agrees.
Trying to deprive a merchant of his profits would be like forcing a ravenous wolf to vomit up the food in its stomach.
We need to expose the jade to both Pyro and Hydro to test it out, and we suggest Xiangling's restaurant as a place to conduct the test. Xiangli dismisses this suggestion though, as he doesn't want bystanders to get hurt in case the experiment goes wrong, giving us some valuable insight into his character.
We cannot take such a risk.
Alright, so he doesn't go in for collateral damage. Okay, that's good to know. He's not a bad guy, I guess. So we decide to head back to Mondstadt instead to test it out in some hilichurl camp.
It has been a long time since I last set foot in the Nation of Wind.
We clear out the hilichurl camp so we can use their big-ass cooking pot for ourselves. While the jade cooks in the pot, we fend off some rightfully angry hilichurls just trying to take their home back. This happens a few times until the jade finally finishes cooking, and we identify the best sample.
Let's head back to the Jade Mystery to buy some jade, shall we?
We pick out the correct piece of jade and tell the merchant that it's to be used in the Rite of Parting. When he hears this, he offers us the jade at half the price, once again showing just how much the people of Liyue respect their god. Truly a different world entirely than the godless people of Mondstadt. Anyway, before we can go, it's time to pay up.
As I thought, I didn't bring any.
God damn it.
My apologies. Another oversight on my part.
Zhongli sneaks out of paying the bill, and we decide to whip out the funds that we got from Child instead, putting the Fatui blood money to good use. After that, we head up to the ritual site to place down the jade. Bloop. So are the guards just not after us anymore, or what?
Should suspects like us really be at the crime scene?
Exactly.
We might get caught by the Miller. Although with that said...
Zhongli tells us that the Qixing actually approved of us doing the rite of parting, seemingly clearing us of suspicion so far. He also tells us that the Exuvia, Rex Lapis's remains, is also most likely stored away in the Golden House, Liyue's coin mint where all the Mora and Tevat is fabricated. The Golden House.
Oh, no! Paimon wasn't thinking about anything bad.
Bullshit, you weren't. We speculate that both the Fatui and the Qixing must have their own motives for taking part in the rite this way, but as to what that could be, we still have no idea. Anyway, next up on our shopping list is the perfumes we need for the rite. But to even get those, we first need to get some prime quality silk flowers, which are needed to make the perfumes.
Hey, boss, do you sell silk flowers here?
The merchant doesn't take kindly to our ignorant tourist ways, but Zhongli steps in to prove once again just how much of a high-life connoisseur he really is.
Just look at the abundant foliage here. And these stamens, glamorous as a maiden of the Golden House. This strain is an evergreen, and mostly grows under complex hydrological conditions.
6.5 hours later.
Lastly, this strain is quite the recluse. Unlike its exuberant cousins,
Holy
flowers and
shit.
foliage are...
Yep, Zhongli likes to talk. A lot. Surprisingly though, I never really got bored of listening to him. I don't know, there's something just fascinating about him. Anyway, it's time to pick out the correct flowers.
So, which silk flower did you want anyway?
I'll take them all, boss.
Again.
Again?
Oh god.
Again!
This time he actually means it though, as it's traditional for the rite of parting to have a variety of perfumes from different subspecies of silk flower.
As such, I do think we should honor tradition down to the last detail in this case.
Man, he talks a lot, but his voice just makes me want to keep listening to him forever. Once again, Zhongli did not bring any more with him, so we're once again stuck with the bill. Thankfully though, the merchant overheard us talking about the rite of parting and decides to hand us the flowers for free.
I would be nobody if not for Rex Lapis.
Again, they all love him. Now that we have the flowers, it's time to find someone that can help us make them into actual perfumes. And this time, it doesn't seem like we can ask Zhongli for help.
Unfortunately, none of my acquaintances have personal experience in the art of decoction.
Talk about first world problems.
So we decide to go around smelling random women around town to find out where they got their scents from. Yeah, that seems like a perfectly reasonable thing for an outsider to do. The first candidate on the list is Lan from the Adventurers Guild. You smell great.
Wow. Just wow.
After some explaining, she tells us to talk to another lady, Chi Ming.
The fortune teller, right? Paimon remembers she smells pretty good.
Why do you go around sniffing people, Paimon?
Thanks, Lan. See you around.
So we head down to the docks to see her.
We've come to ask you a question.
You smell great.
I...
Apparently she doesn't really use any perfume either, for some unexpectedly dark implied reasons.
I avoid perfume like the plague, because Celestia forbid those lusty sailors catch a whiff and come hunting for the source.
That's the worst thing Paimon's heard all day.
Yeah, that's the worst thing I've heard in Genshin, I think. She does point us in the direction of an actual perfumer now, though, by the name of Yinger. A name that will surely go down in infamy in Genshin history, at least on this channel. I really was not ready for what comes next.
Well, hello. You found me at last. I've been waiting for you.
What? How did you know we were coming?
People love to talk. Maybe you ought to be more discreet in the future if you don't want word to get around.
Oh, so now I'm a perv in Liyue. Amazing. I went from being a criminal to a perv. You can probably tell from my voice here, but at this point in my playthrough, I was kind of dozing off from all the talking. However, this lady managed to wake me up with her interesting way of speaking.
3 in one go. My goodness. You have extreme tastes for someone your age. Maybe the rumors I heard were true after all. You're on the prowl and need some sweet-smelling ammunition. Is that it?
You got a problem with that?
Ay, ay, ay. Who let this tiger out of the cage?
She agrees to help us with the perfume if we help her in the process as her assistant.
But you'd better make sure I'm the only person on your mind while you're hanging around with me.
We head to Xiangling's restaurant to use the kitchen there and...
Are you ready to please me?
What the fuck is this quest line, man?
What did you say?
Yeah. So she sends us out to fetch her a bucket of water that we need for the process. Yep. I think I need a cold bucket of water right now. We gather up the water and head back to the restaurant. Yinger is quite pleased with us and starts to teach us the ancient Liyue art of making perfume. And she goes into quite the bit of detail here.
Very carefully, take hold of the mortar and pestle. Gently does it. You need to keep your wrist firm so your hand doesn't slip. Now, Use your strong hand to stir it with a persistent rhythm.
Oh my god.
Keep going until the juices start to come out.
What the fuck? We escape outside to use the crafting bench there to make the perfumes. But we're not done yet. That was only the first step. Oh, sweet Jesus, help me.
Don't waste a drop of that essence now. We want all of it in there.
I get it.
It's so rare to see nowadays.
I can't, man. I can't. But I have to.
Wow.
Anyway, Yinger tells us a little bit about the 3 different perfumes we prepared for the Rite. The first one is apparently a hit with the young ladies out there, while the second one is attractive to the ladies of high society. The third one...
Mature women adore this one.
I'll take that one. We grab the 3 perfumes and skedaddle as quickly as we can. Zhongli is waiting for us at the statue of the 7 after all. Oh, I need a fucking shower after that, man. We find Zhongli at the statue where he appears to be deep in thought. He doesn't seem to mind that we took quite a while to get everything ready.
Compared to the watch that Rex Lapis's statues have kept over Liyue, this was but a brief moment.
We offer up all 3 perfumes at the statue, and it seems to react quite strongly to one in particular. The, mature lady one. Well, you and me both, buddy.
Does that mean that Rex Lapis is actually an older lady?
To our surprise, Zhongli actually entertains Paimon's idea, stating that Rex Lapis has indeed taken on many forms in his lifetime. He seems to know quite a lot, actually.
We only got to see the giant dragon form, and...
Unless... Is he Rex Lapis? No. But he's... If he's had like several forms, he could be anyone at this point. So surely that's the last of our preparations, right? Oh. Next on the list is the cleansing bell, safeguarded by one Madame Ping. And for some reason, Zhongli does not want to come with us to see her.
Man, why is he gotta be so secretive this time?
Anyway, it's back to Liyue Harbor for us, where Madame Ping awaits us at the top of a bunch of stairs.
All things must change.
Okay, here's my guess now. Zhongli probably knew Madame Ping when she was younger, and he hasn't aged at all, because he's like... Is he the Archon? He might be the Archon. But the Archon is dead, though. Madame Ping laments the passage of time and talks about how the glaze lilies of Liyue can apparently read human hearts, and that they react to them, blooming in tandem with positive emotions, while negative emotions cause them to wither away. And lately, there's been quite a lot of withering going around.
This old woman's grown too old and naggy. Did you have something to say, youngster?
We ask her to borrow the cleansing bell, and she agrees. Only she seems to have misplaced it somewhere.
An old friend of mine used to wear it on his person back when I was young.
See, I fucking knew it. This old friend of hers also told her to lend out the cleansing bell to anyone that would come to ask for it in the future. Anyway, it turns out the bell isn't very far away. In fact, Madame Ping is sure that she misplaced it in quite the unusual spot.
See this ceramic teapot? My entire household is in here.
How does that work?
In you go, Paimon. Madame Ping invites us to look for it ourselves, and so we open up the lid and... Uh-oh. Oh. Yup, turns out there's a whole tiny world hidden inside the teapot. So we help Madame Ping do some spring cleaning in here before making our way to the cleansing bell. There it is. We deduced that Granny might be an adeptus with these weird powers of her and all. We also agreed to tell Zhongli to come over for tea sometime, since Madame Ping seems to miss him dearly. After that, we head back to the ritual site and put the bell in place. We take this opportunity to ask Zhongli an important question. Are you also an adeptus?
An adeptus?
That's suspicious.
But as is par for the course with Genshin's characters, he doesn't really give us a straight answer. We do extend Madame Ping's tea invitation to him though.
If you have the time, you can come over for tea. I don't have much to offer, but you can always count on an old lady for a pot of tea.
I'm gonna slap you, Paimon.
That tone does not suit you.
I agree. So surely now we're done with all the preparations for the rite, right?
Next.
No.
We need to purchase kites.
Turns out kites also play an important role in Liyue's rituals, and so we just gotta have them as well. Man, this is a lot of fetching stuff. I mean, we do get info. It's not like we don't learn anything about the world, about the characters. I don't know. I think I'll have to sit on it a little bit before I can truly decide how I feel about it. Like, I don't hate it. It's just, I really want to see what happens at the ritual. I feel like we're not really getting any closer. We meet another old lady to buy some kites, and luckily seems like Zhongli already put in the order, so it's ready to go. We learned that the 7 kites needed for the ritual actually represents the 7 archons.
I took the liberty of coloring outside the lines when doing the insignia of the Animo Archon.
Because freedom?
These patterns are ancient, and you can also find them in the Golden House.
Ah, Paimon Paimon's heard that name before.
Paimon, stop talking. Finally, he said it himself.
Huh?
When describing the kite for the Cryo Archon of Cheshnaya, we get a hint that Zhongli might actually have known her once upon a time. Adding further evidence to our theory that he might just be the Liyue Archon in disguise, Child shows up to pay the bill, as we're all out of funds now. Oh, thank God. Our sugar daddy's here.
There's no need to take a break before moving to the next step in our preparations.
There's still more? Now it's time to gather up some manpower to help out with the ritual, and so we're given a new bag of Mora from Child, as well as the task of negotiating with our hired hands. We head off to find some suitable candidates when...
Seems I missed out on some interesting information. I suppose I'll just have to find a more opportune moment next time.
I don't like them. I'll fast forward through this next part as it's mostly just bargaining with workers and handing them their tasks. But we do get to try and negotiate the price here, which I did actually enjoy a lot. Even though we have to convince both the worker and Zhongli every single time.
I'll only charge you 15,000 Mora. What say you?
That's a bit
a most
rough.
fair price.
No, let's negotiate. And as a bonus for our strong negotiating skills, we get to keep the leftover Mora in the bag from Child. Sweet. We head over to the Fatui Redhead to report on a job well done. Paimon has some harsh words for our young friend.
You think you can buy us off with some loose change? No way! Paimon demands to know when the next payment is coming.
Oh, the facepalm is so good.
Well, how does this sound?
We tell him that we still don't really trust him, bringing up the La Senora incident in Mondstadt once again. And surprisingly, this seems to bother Child a whole lot this time.
You both need to calm down. I don't know what's gotten into you.
Thankfully, Zhongli shows up to brighten the mood. Or so I thought at the time, at least.
Next, we need some everlasting incense. For this, we need to go to Boo Boo Pharmacy, the finest pharmacy in all
Come on, we're not done yet. So we seem to have no choice but to head up to Boo Boo Pharmacy to get a hold of some of that incense. It looks kind of deserted once we get there, though.
Hello? Is anybody there?
Welcome to Boo Boo Pharmacy.
Hello? Oh. What's that music? It's just a child. This is Chi-Chi, a zombie girl working behind the counter. She was apparently saved by the Adepti after she died and resurrected, and yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm too tired to question this stuff. Since we don't have a prescription, she doesn't want to hand us the incense. Why is she being so difficult?
I'm afraid that she's probably right. It's to do with her orders. Zombies are limited to acting within the confines of their orders.
Of course they are. So Chi-Chi asks us to do her a small favor in return for the incense instead.
Go to Mount Tianheng, find the Guizhong Ballista.
What?
And hunt a cocoa goat. Please and thank you.
Zhongli tells us that the Guizhong Ballista was made by the Adeptus in the ancient past to protect Liyue from outside threats. So he has no idea what a cocoa goat is. Chi-Chi tells us that it's some kind of hybrid Adepti beast.
What it looks like. Don't know. Where to find it? Don't know either. Where it came from? Also don't know.
So we finally head back outside the city for a stroll to the Guizhong Ballista in hopes of finding a clue to the cocoa goat as well. We've been stranded a lot inside the city, which is a bit of a surprise to me. For this act, it's just been going back and forth between NPCs almost. After some wandering and exploration, we managed to locate the ballista on some ancient ruins. Let me guess, it's broken.
This device is broken.
I knew it. Thankfully though, the materials for repair seem to be hidden inside the ruins we're at. So we sneak inside to grab them and head back to the ballista.
I will try to repair the device.
Oh, he's actually doing something.
It is done.
We take a look through the ballista scope that it apparently has somewhere, but we get interrupted by some treasure hoarders.
So you fixed up this turret because you're planning to do what exactly?
Not a turret, a Guizhong Ballista. Also, kindly state your name before you ask a question. It's just good manners.
I like Zhongli a lot so far. The bandits don't seem to like Zhongli as well as me though, and so we see no other option but to teach the rude boys a lesson.
Tut tut. Vandalizing the legacy of an Adeptus for selfish gain. Disgraceful behavior. It is not we who need reprimanding, but you.
Let's go. Goodbye.
Retribution!
The battle theme is just so f***ing good, man. I don't really want the battle to end. After beating up the bandits, we give up on searching for the mysterious cocoa goat and decide to head back to Chi-Chi to tell her about our results. Hey, at least we managed to repair the ballista, right?
What a disappointment. Don't worry about it. But I feel very disappointed.
Turns out Chi-Chi is a really big fan of milk. Yeah, coconut milk in particular, which she mistakenly assumed could only be found on the legendary Adepti beasts. Zhongli apologizes for not seeing this revelation coming a lot earlier.
Never mind, Zhongli. You didn't know. As the Liyue proverb goes, all things are random and So how are you supposed to
Oh my
predict
god, shut
anything?
up. A mysterious snake-wearing man named Baishu shows up. Turns out he's the real owner of the Boo Boo Pharmacy and that he's the one taking care of Chi-Chi. Orochimaru? Turns out Snake Man's snake actually talks, and she quickly slithers her way to the top as one of my favorite characters in Liyue so far.
What a sorry state of affairs. This little mascot is even more of a simpleton than Chi-Chi.
You're telling me. Anyway, we tell Baishu about our predicament and he agrees to hand the incense over to us.
Whew, at last. Things are finally starting to come together.
3 million more. Top quality.
You might as well just rob the golden house. Unsurprisingly, Zhongli doesn't really do much to help us out in this situation, so we go pick up Child to see if he will foot the bill.
Coco Goat! Coco Goat! My sides hurt. Oh my goodness. I cannot believe you fell for that.
You piece of shit. Child offers the owner some Fatsui privileges in exchange for the incense, and with some pleading from Chi-Chi, Baishu agrees to cut a deal with us.
Let's say 2,990,000 more.
We only got 10k off?
That's like 0 difference from 3 million.
2,990,000. Also an innocuous number in and of itself.
Man, I really like Zhongli a lot, I gotta say. I'd go so far as to classify him as the Diluc of this region, which is high praise indeed.
Well, now that this is settled, we must head back to Yujing Terrace.
Yeah, you got this, Child. Good luck. We get another sneaky look at what Child is up to after we leave. Turns out we've had a Fatui spy following us and listening in this entire time. What a shocker. Through her, Child learns that the Exuvia is hidden in the Golden House. But I'm sure he won't do anything awful with that information, right?
I apologize, but I warned you, didn't I? As the old Liyue saying goes, the walls have ears.
Well, put the incense in place. Okay, let's go. I feel like something will happen now. Something will definitely happen. Thankfully, Zhongli tells us that the preparation are almost done now. Yep, there's still more. Before we do that though, our aloof friend makes us an offer we can't refuse.
I've decided to treat you to a meal.
Hey, Zhongli, treating? He tells us that he'll actually pay this time, and so we meet him at the 3rd round knockout. The restaurant has an in-house storyteller going on while we eat, and so we get treated to some interesting Liyue lore. He starts telling us the story of the Jade Palace, which is apparently one of Lady Ningguang's greatest treasures. We also catch a quick glimpse of someone watching us from afar.
Behold! The glorious sights of Liyue Harbor.
Who the hell is that? We enter an extremely beautiful hand-drawn cutscene that tells us more about Lady Ningguang and the Jade Palace.
They say that when Lady Ningguang ponders important affairs, she retreats to her jade chamber with none but her 3 closest confidants in tow.
We also learn about an all-important wall of information in the palace, where all the secrets about Liyue's dealings and ongoings are stored and pieced together by the Qixing. After putting it all together, Ningguang shreds the documents and sends them flying above Liyue Harbor, causing every single merchant in the city to scramble to get their hands on a piece.
The saying goes, the rarest treasures in the land are the words brought by the paper snow. Merely grasping 1 or 2 of them will surely gift you a fragment of her wisdom. Enough to stay a step or 2 ahead of your peers.
The storyteller finishes his tale and our cozy dinner gets interrupted by the mysterious figure from earlier. We get ready to dine and dash as we don't want to get caught and captured.
Wait, I am not with the Millilith, nor am I here to claim your bounty.
The purple-haired lady presents herself as Ganyu, an emissary and secretary of the Qixing. Turns out she's been sent here by Lady Ningguang to call us in for a meeting with her.
Ningguang sent you? We were literally just talking about her.
What a coincidence. In fact, we're invited to join her at the Jade Palace in the sky of all places. Ganyu reads us the message out loud.
Invite him to come here. I wish to meet him at the Jade Chamber. Together we shall snip every one of these entwining dark threads.
And with that, that's Act 2 done. Oof, this was a really long chapter of the story, I'm not gonna lie. It wasn't terrible or anything, as we got drip-fed some lore nuggets here and there as we went, but the constant back and forth between NPCs in the city just got a bit stale quite fast. As an old Final Fantasy XIV veteran, it kinda reminds me of the quest design in that game, when it's at its least interesting at least. But I digress. Here's hoping Act 3 finishes things off in a slightly faster pace at least. The invitation from the Qixing takes priority over finishing the rest of the preparations for the Rite. So we say goodbye to Zhongli for now and head on our merry way toward hopefully more interesting skies. But before we do that, let's make a wish to take our mind out of things. Oh! Oh! We got him! Yep, we got the freest boy in Mondstadt on our team now. I'm gonna work on prepping him for our next adventure after we finish up this video. Anyway, we head up to the highest point we can find, because how the hell are we even supposed to get to the Jade Chamber? No one told us. So we give our boy Venti a try to get toward a smaller platform floating in the sky. It's still quite a ways to the palace though, so Paimon presents us with another one of her brilliant ideas.
Paimon has a new idea!
Oh, sick.
Why don't we shoot you up to the Jade Chamber using the ballista?
Do you really hate me that much? Nah, sadly we don't really get to do that. But we do decide to head down to the ballista anyway to look through the scope, so we can find an alternate path.
Halt! Who trespasses on these hallowed grounds?
The Millelith seems to have occupied the ruins for now though, and Paimon pisses them off so much that we have no choice but to defend ourselves.
Stop! What's all this about?
Lady Kuching, these two strange people suddenly appeared.
Another one of the Liyue Archon show up, a cat girl by the name of Ketching. She tells us that the guards were just here to investigate how the ballista happened to get fixed overnight. Apparently it's quite unusual for a mere mortal to be able to fix an Adepti weapon like this. Through Ketching, we learned that tensions between the Adepti and the Qixing are actually quite high.
You're referring to their sanctimonious arrogance, aren't you?
Huh?
Oh, now we get their side of the story. Ketching in particular doesn't seem to be too fond of the Adepti at all. And so we meet our very first character in Liyue that actually seems to oppose the rule of the Adepti and Rex Lapis quite a bit. She makes it clear that this is only her opinion though.
This skepticism is mine alone, and Ningguang does not share it.
Also interesting. Okay, so they're not all of the same mind. It's starting to feel like there might be a conflict or even war lurking on the horizon between the Qixing and the Adepti for the rule of Liyue. All very interesting stuff, I gotta say.
The time of the Adepti has long passed. If even the Liyue Qixing don't want to face that truth, then what future is there for Liyue?
Another super bold statement!
Ketching tells us that it's customary to bring a gift when meeting Ningguang, and so Paimon gets started on prepping yet another fetch quest before the plot can progress. And just when it was finally starting to get interesting too. Paimon, get serious.
But...
Ketching also tells us that we're wasting time looking for a way up on the mountain, and that the actual entrance is found back in the city. We just need the password to enter.
Well, that Yuheng may not respect the gods, but Paimon thinks she's a pretty cool person.
Yeah. She made a pretty good impression on me too.
When we see her.
So we head out to gather some slimy ingredients for our gift. Dude, I love this music so much. We save a random Liyue citizen from some treasure hoarders who tell us that he works as a supplier for a jewelry store back in town. We tell him of our plight and he agrees to reward us with a gift box for our weird slime dish once we head back to town.
Here, this container is itself an antique, with at least 140 years of history.
We finally finish our gift and head back toward the Jade Chamber. Such a different vibe from Mondstadt, like I'm enjoying it so much. If every nation is this different, it's gonna be an absolute joy to explore. We tell the dude guarding the entrance the password, and so we head on up toward the sky. We're finally at the Jade Chamber.
I've been waiting for you, returnee from Jueyun Karst.
It's Ningguang!
We're finally face to face with Ningguang, and she thankfully starts dropping new lore on us almost immediately. We learned that the Jade Chamber was actually financed by Ningguang herself, as she'd been saving up for its construction for a very, very long time.
At first, it was but the size of one room. Now, it is large enough to blot out the moon in the skies above Liyue. One day, I believe it will overshadow all 7 nations.
She tells us that visiting the Jade Chamber is an exclusive privilege only a select few get to enjoy, but that she's been communicating with the best girl of Mondstadt who has thankfully vouched for us.
The acting Grand Master of the Knights of Favonius.
Jean! She tells us that she brought us here to clear up some misunderstandings we may have after our own adventures in the region. And then she starts lore dumping. Hard, which is just amazing. She tells us about the Archon War many years ago, something that has previously only been hinted at really.
Many gods used to walk this earth, and many long wars were fought between them that did not abate until 2,000 years ago. Much blood was shed, and many lives were lost. In the end, only 7 victors remained standing in Tevat. They built cities and nations on the corpses of the vanquished, and thus began the era of the 7.
Holy, that's a lot darker than I expected, to be honest. She tells us that the Guyun stone forest is actually made up of giant rock spears that the Liyue Archon threw during the Archon War. She also explains that Rex Lapis is not the first of the 7 to die, and that order will continue even with his passing. Another Liyue Archon will rise.
When that time comes, the relationship between the people of Liyue And the gods and Adepti will surely be different from before.
She explains that she hid away the Exuvia to stop their enemy from gaining the upper hand. As to who that enemy is, well...
What do you think, Traveler?
Not the Adepti, right? Is it him? Child? Dude, I am intrigued. This is getting good now. I love everything about this. We head inside the palace to continue our discussion, and it's quite the fancy place. Before talking to Ningguang, though, we quickly snatch as many books as we can. Anyway, back to Ningguang.
And when friends come over to play, our enjoyment comes first. Naturally.
Is that what I think it is? Oh, that's what he means.
Isn't this that legendary wall?
She asks us who we find more trustworthy, she herself or Ketching, who seems to be a bit more skeptical about it all. And as the pessimist and catgirl enjoyer that I am, I of course go with Ketching. Ningguang reveals that she heard Ketching's words to us earlier, but she also makes it clear that the Qixing has no intention of usurping Rex Lapis's power for themselves. Instead, she points the finger toward another organization, one we know very well.
With Rex Lapis's death, the Fatui have busied themselves with many clandestine actions beyond their diplomatic remit.
Paimon interrupts all this interesting lore with yet another display of greed, this time wanting to get her sticky little fingers on one of the papers on the Jade Chamber's fabled wall. Seriously, Paimon? Seriously? For some reason, Ningguang agrees to this, and so we pick out a piece of paper from the wall. We pick the biggest one with a giant circle on it, and it apparently discusses Fatui research on sigils of permission, the very same object Child handed us earlier to show to the Adepti. So that's how he had one. They've been manufacturing them themselves then. We suspect that Ningguang actually planned for us to see this document, a skepticism that Paimon doesn't share.
Paimon thinks she's been nothing but good to us.
Honestly, I like Ningguang as well. I don't really suspect her of anything bad. But we have no choice really but to go check out the location on the map for ourselves. And with that, our very brief meeting with Ningguang is over. Is that it? Is our meeting finished already? Yep. We head to the location on the map and find a bunch of angry-looking Fatui waiting for us. So we decide to smash them up real good. Just like we suspected, we find a bunch of sigils waiting for us in the ruins, and Paimon tells us that making friends with the Adepti is actually not all they're good for.
Talismans like that were once used in the Archon War to channel divine powers.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good now, does it? Anyway, we decide to take a break from all the action and head towards Zhongli in Dihua Marsh, so we can finally finish up the preparations for the rite. We brief him on everything that's happened since we last saw him, including our meeting with Ningguang.
It's said that she's the one behind the constant expansion of the Jade Chamber. It's the second most important thing to her. Even if she ever gave up the position of Tianquan, she would never give up the Jade Chamber.
He's not really surprised that the Fatui has been up to no good, and I mean, who is really? And he urges us to be careful while dealing with them in the future. Anyway, on this episode of Fetch Quest Bonanza, we need to pluck up some glazed lilies to use for the ritual. The very same emotion-reacting flowers that Madame Ping was talking about earlier.
Before the Archon War, Dihua Marsh was all dry land and fertile soil, but the war caused landslides, and the land was flooded, turning it into the marsh you see now. Nearly all the glazed lilies were wiped out.
Dude, every time we learn something about the war, it's just so interesting. I hope we get to see, maybe we get a flashback or something at one point, like a cutscene about it. Naturally, the only way to gather these flowers is to sing to them and... Wait, what?
So how good is your singing?
I'm a pro, just step back and listen.
Really? Why doesn't Paimon believe you?
Da 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 da.
Oh, they didn't like that. We get a few flowers out of the ordeal, but nothing that really makes a dent in the amount we need. Thankfully, a more talented singer shows up to help us out.
I can't remember.
Greetings, Yangu.
Yangu? Who's that? You have completely forgotten my name, haven't you?
Paimon lets her have it for not telling us the way to the Jade Chamber, and we notice that her attitude seems to have relaxed a little bit since our last meeting.
I met you at that time as an emissary of the Tianquan, but now I am simply out on a stroll to see the flowers.
Ganyu tells us that she had a hard time sticking around the city for too long, seeing as that's where Rex Lapis met his end. She also drops us a little more fascinating lore about times long past.
When the Archon War came to its end 2,000 years ago, the first iteration of the Seven would gather in Liyue and drink with Rex Lapis. But 5 of those original 7 had already passed before Rex Lapis. It's truly a changing of the guard. Now that the spirit of Rex Lapis has returned to the heavens, only Barbados of Mondstadt remains of the first 7.
Oh, so he's actually the oldest one now? Yup, turns out the 7 has had quite the change of management since the war ended. Ganyu tells us that Sumeru's god of Dendro is the youngest one by far now, as she's only about 500 years old. Meanwhile, Rex Lapis was about 6,000 years old when he passed, meaning that he's been the sole Liyue Archon since Liyue Harbor came to be 3,700 years ago.
As a mortal, I've never dared to imagine a Liyue without Rex Lapis. But as an Adeptus, I think I will eventually come to grips with reality.
Turns out Ganyu is also an Adeptus, which, I mean, maybe just take a look at those horns on her head. She's a mix of human and Chilan, which is not a race or word we've heard of before. We also learned that she actually fought alongside Rex Lapis during the Archon War, making her very old indeed as well. So you're how old? That explains the forgetfulness.
Well,
Anyway, back to the task at hand. Ganyu picked some flowers herself earlier, so she gladly hands them to us. Then, she dips. That finally marks the end of our preparations for the rite of parting. It's been a long journey, and we reminisce a bit with Zhongli before moving on.
Beginning a new undertaking is always difficult at first, and requires no small amount of effort. And once business is at full steam, the stress of it all only wears away at you over time. So you must be careful to take the time to step back and re-examine yourself. If left unchecked, the wear and tear on your heart may go well past mending.
I'd love to know what he's done in the past, man. I'm so fascinated by Zhongli. You know, that was quite a monologue. I seem to remember a certain other Archon in Mondstadt that imparted us with a similar lesson. We head back to the city and find a whole bunch of Millelef and Fatui waiting for us there. They all seem to be on high alert as well.
It seems as though something big has happened.
We asked this random Fatui guy what's happening, and he tells us that the Adepti have started moving on the city. The Chising have apparently met with them outside to try and de-escalate whatever conflict is brewing between them.
If the two sides come to blows, Liyue Harbor will be in no position to stop them.
He also tells us that the Chising have proclaimed that they'll be keeping a closer eye on the Fatui from now on, much to their dismay. Anyway, we decide that we can't just stand by and watch while things hit a boiling point. Apparently the Wangsheng funeral parlor has also run into some trouble, so Zhongli will have to leave us for the time being.
Consider your next course of action carefully, traveler. If you're trying to prevent an explosion, it may be wisest to look for the fuse first.
What does Zhongli mean by looking for the fuse?
That ginger guy.
Oh, Paimon gets it.
We deduce that Child may have headed for the Golden House to see the Exuvia while all this craziness is going on. So we head up there to stop him from doing anything rash. We try to stop Paimon from giving into her greedy little loot goblin urges and notice something odd inside.
Look! What happened here?
The Millelef.
Uh-oh. Paimon smells trouble.
We make a break for the Exuvia and then...
You've already fulfilled your task as guides.
Oh.
So why do you still linger here? Haven't you already seen enough trouble for today? You're nothing but dross, and you're in my way.
Yup, seems like Child is a secret bad guy after all. He lets it slip that the Tsaritsa has given him the order to secure the Liyue Archon's Gnosis, the source of power hidden inside every member of the Seven.
She will get that which she desires.
Not if I have anything to say about it. Child really seems to love the thought of battle, and he tells us that he's very different than La Signora in that way. While La Signora fled as soon as she got what she wanted, Child instead wants to enjoy the thrill of the fight. And we're more than happy to give him what he wants.
Oh, so you intend to fight me? Good. I won't kill you, Traveler. I'll just play along, to feel the thrill of battle.
Good luck. What an ego. I could never defeat you, you're completely delusional.
Fighting talk, I love it.
We finally square off against the red-headed Fatui Harbinger, and we kind of mess him up real bad. Nope. You're dead. I'm sorry, Child. Probably should have ascended the world tier before this. Turns out this wasn't even his final form, though. So we once again smash him up in record speed, and... What? We're beating his ass. Yep, our old friend ludonarrative dissonance strikes once again.
That's about as far as you'll get.
Oh, he's using both elements! So cool. In the confusion, Child teleports up to the Exuvia.
You've seen this world. You of all people should know.
You're sick.
This should have been expected. Well then, I'll be taking Morax's Gnosis now.
Nope. But turns out the Gnosis has already left the building somehow. Child isn't too pleased by this and puts the blame on us, thinking that we somehow got to it first. Then he goes full anime on us. Oh! Holy shit, he looks cool as fuck. Tartaglia.
Not bad. This is going to cost you!
God, the music is so good in this game. Bro, this is amazing. This is so good. So we have our final battle with Child, and this time he's a bit tougher indeed. But he still proves no match to my overleveled D-Luke smacking him up. Goodbye.
Some you win, and some you lose. Look! Child's back to normal again!
Now that he's calmed down a bit, Child realizes that we wouldn't have been able to get to the Gnosis before him. He is also very surprised that he was bested by us.
Your show of ability today far surpasses that of Signora's initial assessment of you in Mondstadt. Tell me, how could that be?
Because I'm gradually restoring my former power. Oh, you're right. I keep forgetting that he's like in the beginning of the game. He's like a flying, superpowered being.
You already know the answer, don't you?
Despite everything, he calls us his friend, owing to the fact that we seek to grow stronger just like he does and all. Yeah, I don't know about that one, buddy. He speculates that the Exuvia didn't actually hold the Gnosis at all, and that it was just a distraction set up by the Qixing.
What? So you mean that...
Rex Lapis still lives. It's Zhongli then. I fucking knew it. I knew it! Child is not quite done yet though, as he reveals that he has a backup plan just for an occasion like this.
I will awaken the god that lies dormant beneath Guyan's stone forest.
By awakening the sea god, he intends to draw out Rex Lapis so he can finally get the Gnosis for real. It's important to note here that Child actually does seem to show a little remorse that he'll have to involve regular citizens as collateral damage, so perhaps there's hope for him yet. Turns out the dormant ritual power in the mass-produced Sigils of Permission was the key to awakening the god.
Using the powers of ancient gods in such a situation fails to interest me, and is largely against my principles. But knowing that such an action will not only force the Geo Archon to show its hand, but you as well, that makes matters a little more intriguing.
Child's ritual summons a terrible storm over Liyue Harbor. Oh. Then he dips. We perform some high-level acrobatics while the screen has faded to black and manage to get up onto the Jade Chamber's platform somehow. The Fatui truly are never up to any good. That's the last time we ever trust them. The Adepti and the Qixing have been negotiating inside the Jade Chamber and, given the state of things, have now decided to call a truce. At least while the angry Overlord is dealt with.
Oh, Paimon gets it. So how do you plan to defend Liyue?
My god, this looks so good, like look at this. So surely the power of the Millelith, the Adepti, and the Qixing will be enough to handle this bad boy, right? Well, not necessarily, as Ningguang actually doubts that we have enough firepower to take him down. However, all hope is not lost. Cloud Retainer reminds us about the Guizhong Ballista, a weapon that she actually built herself, believe it or not. Only the Adepti can truly use it, and so we have our plan laid out in front of us.
We haven't a moment to spare. Our battle begins now.
Let's go!
Yep.
Man, this got real fast. Show me how you're gonna shoot that with hoods. Oh. Like that, I guess. Woohoo! The Fatui come swarming out of some evil-looking portals, and so it's up to us to defend the Adepti while they gun the Overlord down. Man, the scales just went up so fast. Shoot! Woohoo! Man, the way this went from like a shopping trip in Liyue for a few hours to fighting a god with spirit ballistas is kind of wild. Uh-oh. Gonna start shooting. Oh shit! We fend off the Fatui for quite some time, and luckily the Adepti all chip in and lets us borrow some spirit power to dispatch of our enemies a bit quicker.
With the blood of the Chilean, I guard you against evil!
We slowly get more and more Adeptus power, and so the Fatui turn into absolute mincemeat by the time we're finally done defending the ballistas.
Now we may commit ourselves fully.
Turns out the ballistas aren't quite enough to put a stop to the angry god though, and so Ningguang comes up with another plan, one that shows us the true nature of a character. Kamikaze?
I understand.
Oh
Traveler,
shit.
lend me a hand. Let us meet again in the future.
Jesus. Oh, but we're safe somehow. Okay. She sacrificed that which she cares about so much.
Is it finally over?
Everyone thanks us for our help, so I guess we're now both the hero of Mondstadt and Liyue. The thing is, it was Child that sent us out to gather the Adepti in the first place. So he was kind of helping us as well. He might be a little more complex than I think. With the world-ending threat taken care of, it's finally time to settle the dispute between the Qixing and the Adepti once and for all. Madame Ping highlights that Ningguang proved that she was willing to sacrifice the thing most dear to her to save Liyue.
Well, I was really hoping you would say that such sacrifice could at least be used as some leverage in our negotiations.
She's got her eyes on the prize.
Are you questioning our means of protecting Liyue?
The Adepti aren't easily convinced though, and so Ningguang decides to pull out the ace in her sleeve. That she saw Rex Lapis in a dream and wanted to talk to him about the future of Liyue and the Qixing, but that she was too nervous to do so. Yeah, that's it really. We try to help her out by talking about how hard it was for the people of Mondstadt back when Dwalin and the humans didn't see eye to eye. This is what we learned in the City of Freedom.
Each of the 7 nations has its own scars from the past.
Though your point is the very height of simplicity.
This moved the Adepti just a little bit, but it isn't until a random middle-left soldier and a random child appears to thank them, showing them just how much the people truly value them.
Thanks for protecting Liyue Harbor. Please come visit us for the next lantern rite.
Madame Ping once again chimes in to put an end to the arguing with an inspirational monologue.
The time of contracts between gods and Liyue has long since passed. Now is the time of contracts between Liyue and its people.
Oh shit, it's becoming like Mondstadt. This finally sways the Adepti enough to make them leave. Mooncarver has one last warning though, that should the Qixing ever overextend their reach, the Adepti will come back to put them in their place.
All's well that ends well, huh?
And that seems to put an end to the conflict. We've only got one last mystery to solve though. Where is Rex Lapis and what exactly happened to him? Anyway, now that everything's settled, we decide to head for Wang Sheng Funeral Parlor to find Zhongli and tell him all the sweet deets. Zhongli isn't here though, and the lady at the entrance tells us that she last saw him heading towards Northland Bank, otherwise known as the Fatui Stronghold. So we hurry on over there to make sure he's okay.
You call this cooperation between harbingers? Cooperation involves communication, you know.
Don't take it to heart, child. Besides, aren't you
Señora.
happy that you got to skip the formalities and bring chaos to the land? I'm sure you must have enjoyed that. Oh, it seems that some of your friends have arrived.
Hey, it's Zhongli and Child.
That angle.
You're also one of the Harbingers?
Señora.
I'm glad you still remember my name.
I'd never forget you. We walk in and interrupt a meeting between 2 of the 11 Harbingers and Zhongli for some reason. We decide to stay our hand for the moment, seeing as we're still quite exhausted from the huge god battle and all that. That doesn't stop us from giving Child a piece of our mind though, but turns out we weren't the only ones getting tricked here.
The real deceivers here are Senora and Zhongli. Curse them for leading me on.
Zhongli tricked you?
So actually, I think...
Stop wasting time, child. There'll be plenty of time to chat once I'm through here. You remember the agreement, Morax.
I knew it!
Now, if you would be so kind. The Gnosis, please.
What in the world are you talking about?
Yep, we were right all along. Zhongli is the Liyue Archon himself, Rex Lapis. And it seems like he made some kind of deal with La Señora.
The contract is fulfilled.
Contracts are wholly above all in Liyue after all, and so he hands the Fatui his Gnosis. As to what Zhongli got out of the deal, we don't find out just yet, but we do learn that Rex Lapis himself had a hand in bringing the conflict between Adepti and the Qixing to a head.
As you know, I've dwelt upon this world for more than 6,000 years. Even boulders that can withstand whirlpools will erode with the passing of time.
It seems Zhongli had a revelation one day, realizing that his time for ruling Liyue as the Liyue Archon was well and truly over. There was simply nothing left to be achieved from it. He figured that Liyue was about ready to enter its next age, an age of contracts between Liyue and its people rather than the people and the gods. All of this was simply a test to see whether that was a realistic possibility. So were you satisfied with the finale?
Indeed I was. The Gnosis, which I had kept for so many years, suddenly seemed to have lost its meaning. That's right. Which is why I continued to safeguard the Gnosis until now.
Of course, Rex Lapis was prepared to step in if it proved too much of a task for the people to handle, but he was proven right in the end.
Just as a child quickly matures after losing their parents, so has Liyue matured when faced with the death of its deity.
La Señora knew about the master plan from the very beginning and kept it all to herself in accordance with the contract. After all, this was how she would finally get what she wanted in the end.
Thank you for joining me on this journey, traveler.
What about me? Doesn't anyone feel the least bit of remorse for deceiving me? You've practically kept me in the dark.
Shut up, man. You've really embarrassed yourself this time.
Hey, Haven't you learned the Liyue saying, don't always call it as you see it?
With that, La Senora and Child both head back to Chesnaya to deliver the prize. Although they do travel on different ships, seeing as they're not on the best terms just now. That makes 2 out of the 7 gnosis that the Saritsas got her icy cold hands on now. We take a moment to ask Zhongli about his motivations for making this deal in the first place.
Paimon has no idea what could be a good trade for a gnosis.
Realistically speaking, there is no such thing.
But in good old Genshin fashion, he of course won't tell us just yet.
Uncover that answer for yourself in your future journeys.
What? Tell us! God damn it! At last, the time for the rite of parting has come. So we head up towards the plaza, which is also the place we'll finish up our journey in Liyue. At least for now. We listen to some gossip on the way there and learn that the people still think that Rex Lapis is dead, and that it was the Fatui, Child in particular, that killed him.
Hear ye all! The Qixing's words.
But a middle-left sergeant quickly takes the stage and presents an alternate truth. Seems the Qixing has made up another story about how Rex Lapis failed a divine trial and thus lost his life, leaving no more speculation about this murder hanging in the air. Quite a story. We speculate that the Qixing already knows the whole truth and have made some kind of deal with Zhongli to keep his identity safe. Anyway, we finally head up towards the plaza for real to see the rite of parting through to the end.
As said previously, Rex Lapis's soul returning to the heavens is the end of the contract, and it is also the end of an era.
Ningguang mourns the death of their lord, but also beckons the people to help her build a new age of prosperity for Liyue. After the speech, we're approached by our new favorite catgirl, Kaching.
The Liyue Qixing always repay their debts. And as you have heard, our eyes see far and our reach is long. Name your price. You deserve that much.
Whoa.
We want to find our sister. Oh, perfume lady. How you doing? What happens next is perhaps the most shocking moment in all of our time here in Liyue.
Well, could you help me put up some missing person posters?
Oh shit, he talked. Does this mean that we'll get to hear more of Anime Boy's voice from now on? For the moment we can only speculate, but I kind of hope so. We talked to some of the people attending the rite. So of course we head towards Perfume Lady, who's a bit peeved that the perfumes were actually used in the rite, and not as gifts to her.
Well, that's fine. Suffer no rivals in love, they say. And that's 3 gone in 1 stroke.
Oh my god. Finally, we head towards Zhongli for the final conversation of this storyline. He's very happy to be relieved of his duties as Rex Lapis, and tells us that he's chosen to walk the earth as the mortal Zhongli from now on. That also means that he can't simply make Mora when he needs it, like he used to as a god, and suddenly his aloofness when it comes to money during the story makes a whole lot more sense.
When I was journeying with you, though I still had the Gnosis in hand, I knew that I must soon retire from my role as an Archon. So I had to rehearse a little for my new life.
Oh, no wonder. Paimon gets it now. Since you weren't used to not being able to just make more Mora as and when you wanted to, you had to try becoming a parasite to society who lives off of other people's credit.
Well, we were only spending Fatui money. You don't have to say it like that.
He tells us that he's traded his life as a god for that of a mortal in the very best Liyue out of the trade way, and that he's excited to experience the world anew once again.
I will treasure the memories that I made as Zhongli, traveling the streets of Liyue with you.
It was a fine and very long journey.
That is true.
It's time to set our sights on the next region and the next member of the 7, but Zhongli warns us that it might not be as straightforward a trip as we're hoping.
The nation that neighbors Liyue by sea, Inazuma, is presently closed.
Closed?
Yes.
Turns out the Electro Archon Ball, or Radiant Shogun as she's also called, does not accept visitors to her nation at the moment. Zhongli tells us that the closure has to do with visions, which you'll remember is the source of elemental power for any regular elemental user, that being anyone other than the Archons who source their power from their gnosis. Fascinatingly, he tells us a little bit more about how a regular human would go about getting a vision.
When faced with circumstances beyond their control, humans often bemoan their lack of power. But if a person shows true strength of will at a desperate and fateful moment in their life, the gods will look upon them with favor. This is what visions are. Magical foci bestowed upon those who have been acknowledged by the gods.
But it seems that Rite Shogun doesn't really like having all those people walking around with elemental power in her nation, so she started what Zhongli refers to as the Vision Hunt Decree, basically ordering her soldiers to seize and deliver every single vision to her palace. Rite Shogun seems to think that this divine power will only be truly safe in the hands of a divine ruler, once again showcasing just how different these regions in Teyvat truly are.
For her part, The Raiden Shogun is the god of eternity. It seems as though she has finally decided to eliminate any unstable elements that could pose a threat to her eternal realm.
It seems the Electro Archon sees herself as the best of the Archons, or at least the one that is closest to the heavenly principles, whatever that is. Interesting stuff, and knowing all of this makes me even more excited to visit Inazuma in the future. It's sure to be a whole other kind of adventure. But back to Liyue for one last moment, we get the chance to ask Zhongli whatever we want here. About the trial.
Ah, that was a good one. Failing a divine trial. How they came up with that excuse, I will never know.
The former Liyue Archon tells us that the Qixing did indeed know about his survival, at least partly. He also lets us know that Ningguang's whole dream monologue wasn't actually made up, but that he does indeed have the power to grant these dreams to whoever he chooses. We also learn that the production and minting of Mora will have to cease for the time being, seeing as he isn't around to do that stuff anymore, which in the worst case could lead to an economical crisis.
This is terrible! We're all about to run out of Mora! The world is coming to an end!
Paimon's worst nightmare.
Yes. This is indeed a major issue.
But he assures us that the Qixing will probably figure it out in due time. He also tells us that he forgot to set aside some funds for his journal as a mortal, because of course he did, he is Zhongli after all. And with that, we finish up our adventures in Liyue, at least for the time being. It was truly quite a roller coaster of a ride, so let's talk about it. So yeah, that was a lot, wasn't it? Going into Liyue, I was expecting something similar to Mondstadt, perhaps just a bit bigger. What I didn't expect was a story that felt so very different. It's deliberate, political, and confident in what it's trying to say. Overall, I do think Liyue is quite a big step up compared to the prologue, but it's definitely not perfect. So let's just get the biggest issue out of the way first. Yes, it's Act 2. Act 2 is slow. Painfully slow at times. There is a lot of running back and forth, a lot of errands that drag on for far too long, and feel like they're deliberately testing your patience at times. But here's why, despite it all, I didn't actually really hate it, because in hindsight, I don't really think that this was just some kind of oversight on the writer's part. Instead, it's my impression that Liyue really wants you to feel the weight of its world and systems, with all the bureaucracy, contracts, and rituals that go along with it. I mean, sure, it does drag a lot, but when things finally do happen, when Child betrays us, the god awakens, and the sky begins falling, you truly do understand what's at stake here. That's because you've seen Liyue in full at this point. Talked to a bunch of its people, learned their values, culture, and ways, and it just makes that Act 3, which is just amazing in my opinion. Like, it's the absolute peak of Genshin storytelling so far for me. It's so much harder. I think you can actually tell from my voice in the gameplay clips how excited I am during the big epic battle at the end. And I really don't think I'd be that excited if we hadn't just spent all that time building it up. Let's talk about something else that's peak. Zhongli. Zhongli is just the Diluc of this region. I'll just say it right now. What initially comes across as aloofness, eccentricity, and some kind of quiet wisdom eventually reveals itself to be something much more profound. That being a god who has truly outlived both his relevance and his purpose to the people and the region he loves so much. And that's another reason I think Liyue's conclusion hits so hard, in a very different way from anything I really ever expected from this story. Zhongli steps aside because he trusts his people to stand without him, and he is just such a fascinating character to me. Probably another big reason why I didn't dislike Act 2 as much as other people I'm assuming probably did, because we get to hang out with him for so long here. Zhongli is just such a different Archon from Barbados, and from what he tells us at the end of the story, to Raiden Shogun as well. That brings me to another positive, and this one doesn't really just apply to Liyue as a region, it kind of applies to all of Genshin. It seems like each nation is much more than just another visual overhaul. They're actually ideologically different and even opposed as well. As we see here when we talk to the people of Liyue, who openly disparage the way Mondstadt is run by Barbados. But it doesn't stop there either, because we also get political intrigue in this story, and it's actually handled quite well. With this sort of free-sided political war raging between the Adepti, the Qixing, and the Fatui, who are once again dealing from the shadows. While the Qixing and the Adepti both seem complex, I will say that the Fatui still definitely feels like the quote-unquote bad guys of Genshin. But both the Qixing and the Adepti actually present understandable arguments as to why they should be the ones in charge of protecting Liyue. While the Adepti represents more traditional values such as honoring the past, sacrifice, tradition, and divine protection, the Qixing on the other hand represent the need for adaptation, human agency, and the need for forward momentum in the face of change. And even though it is a bit cliche, I'll admit, Liyue's future isn't just decided by one side. Instead, the future of Liyue comes from negotiating with each other, finding a compromise, and forming that all-important contract with each other. Honestly, it kind of took me by surprise how mature some of this stuff is handled, especially for a gacha game. Scratch that, a free-to-play anime gacha game even. Anyway, I'm rambling here, we gotta go on. Let's talk about the villain of this region, Childe. Childe is actually also pretty fascinating for multiple reasons. He's sneaky when he needs to be, but he doesn't hide behind ideology, and he doesn't even really pretend to be righteous. He just wants conflict, growth, and the thrill of testing himself. He kind of reminds me of a DBC character with this like constant need to test yourself and grow stronger. And I get the feeling that we might see more of him and maybe even possibly gain him as an ally in the future. I get distinct Vegeta vibes from him. At least that's what I'm hoping, cause damn, I want him on my team. If his playable moveset is anything like the one we get to see during the story here, he's on the top of my gacha wishlist, that's for sure. Anyway, Childe, and to a lesser degree, La Signora, help the Fatui feel less like the Team Rocket cartoon-like villains they appeared to be in Mondstadt. They also show us that even in the ranks of the Tsaritsa, not everyone agrees 100% with each other, which is something we actually also see in this story within the ranks of the Qixing, where especially catching as opposed to the old-fashioned way of doing things. Man, these names are really tough to pronounce. I hope it's easier in Inazuma. Anyway, it feels like we're standing on the edge of something much bigger here, and I can't wait to learn more about them and Snezhnaya as a whole in the future. So, where does that leave us? I really liked experiencing all that Liyue had to offer. I binged this Archon quest way faster than I did the prologue, and after experiencing the incredible highs this storyline goes to, I think I can finally and comfortably say, I get it. I get it now. Genshin Story is something truly special, and at this point I am so deeply invested that I cannot wait to finish up this video so I can go back to recording the next one. That being said, we're not quite done with Liyue yet though, as we'll have to find a way into Inazuma first. But that's a journey for another episode. Thank you so much for joining me, and a huge thanks to everyone's support once again. I gotta say, it is both heartwarming and incredibly motivating to witness, and I simply just can't say it enough. Thank you so much. And I hope you'll join me for the next one. Because if Genshin Story can keep delivering at this level, yeah, I'm here for the long haul. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that very short video. First of all, I'd just like to thank my channel members, Elise05 and HopeK96. Thank you guys so very much for being the first channel members. So this is something I'll be doing from now on, and just to make something clear, I think I said it in another video as well, but I will never lock anything behind channel memberships or any monetary value stuff at all, so don't worry about that. This is simply for those who want to support me a little bit more. So thank you guys so much, and thank everyone for watching this video. It's been such a long time coming. I know it's been a very long wait, and to avoid that happening again, I will be doing some shorter videos next where I just go through maybe one chapter at a time of the interlude. We'll see how it goes, but that's my plan at least. So hope I'll see you there. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you. Bye.